gents, back with you. And this is the fourth part of our coverage at Lymm Popular Services, just off the M6 in Cheshire, not too far away from home. And it's Monday the 19th of October, and we're still in this wretched corona pandemic that's gone on for so long now. And we see no end to it. We have a second wave of infections sweeping through the country, and the north of England seems to be getting the brunt of it, protecting the soft southerners yet again. Anyway, what we're going to see this afternoon? Yes, we shall see what we shall see. And it's great welcoming you all along with us, and I hope that you'll enjoy it, and I'll catch up with you later on. So what started as corona ended up as COVID. Well, I thought it said the co-op divvy when it, I don't know. Where's COVID from? Is it just because corona sounded a bit too nasty, so they thought I thought it was a lager. Actually, I thought it was a soft drink in my day. So what was this COVID thing? Mind you, I think it's just something doesn't seem very nice. You change the name of it. They did that with Windscale and changed it to Sellafield after they had a series of leaks. That was a place to work. My God, I had years and years working up there. Oh, what a place. I was actually seconded to work for British Nuclear Fuels, and I was looking after one of the buildings our engineering company had put up, and it was on the interregnum between the contractor completion of construction and the actual commissioning and going into the hands of the production lads. So I was actually in charge of it for a few months, and that was interesting. When I first went there, it was even more interesting, a bit frightening really. Safety wasn't anything as tight as it is perhaps today, and they monitor if anybody was getting radiation by testing people's wee. When you went for a wee, sort of had sampling points down the line. They didn't know who it was, but it monitored everybody, the urine, and if there was radioactivity, they had to start trying to pin it down. Actually, they're usually quite good at getting rid of it. They used to send it off to somebody else, like Ireland, chuck it out in the old pipes, and hope nobody would ever realise. Of course, it all comes out in the end. I did work with some very nice people though when I was seconded to BNFL. Oh, I've worked in some very sort of notorious places. I worked at Aldermaston in the nuclear bomb factory. Gosh, we were treated like cannon fodder by the government scientists and whatever there, the army or whoever the heck looks after it all. And you'd have an exercise or something, well, you'd have a siren going off and they wouldn't tell you if it was real or a practice or anything. And I know once, usually I was the person, the building controller for our contractor's compound. So I was the contact point when they told us to stand down. And it usually wasn't long, 5-10 minutes, and you could tell it probably was either a test or a false alarm, and I'd get a phone call and tell everybody they could go back to work. But I know on one occasion it didn't, and it went on, and I'd phoned Mandy up, and I thought, oh God, there's something bad going to happen here. It's just going on far too long. But eventually it was all over. We didn't get the explanation or anything. And you had to be positively vetted to go and work there, so they'd sort of look into somebody's past and see if there was anything dodgy in their background. And on one occasion they found a lad, you had to be British to work there, and he'd never been abroad in his life, but he was actually born on an ocean liner within United States territorial waters. And because he'd never applied for a passport, because he'd never gone abroad, he'd never really established his right to British citizenship. It was a bit horrifying, having spent his whole life in the country and never gone away on a holiday abroad, and then somebody to turn around and say, we're all not actually British. Anyway, they got it sorted in the end, but it just shows you there's things that can happen, yeah. Happy days, eh? The project we were on there went so far over budget, but they kept changing their minds what they wanted. And, changing your minds when you've brought somebody in to do a job is always going to involve costs. And they were spiralling, and the whole project even reached the debate on the House of Commons, Parliament. And I ended up project manager on the job. We'd had all sorts of people there, all sorts of managers. Oh gosh, it was a graveyard of management. I know one who came out of it quite badly, and he was absolutely a horrible person. I mean, absolutely awful. And then he's sort of like when he got moved down to the end of the management corridor, sort of like the naughty boy step. And I know later on he came and sat down like he was my best mate and asked me what I thought he'd done wrong. God, that was embarrassing. Cool, you think that the orchestra's going to strike up in a minute with Autumn Leaves. I suppose that's before your time, isn't it? Anyway, as I said before, we're on our last leg of the coverage. This is going to boost our truck films for the month of October 2020. I'd like to give nice coverage of all the different modes of transport, and I know people on the internet are particularly keen on the lorries, not quite so much the bus people. Lorries are a bit more of a universal interest, and of course our film goes back a lot of years. You won't see any of the old cine film on the net. YouTube doesn't really like it, but we have masses of programs featuring archives. And I love looking at the old film. It's like looking at my past, my childhood days. I had some from 1958, and the other week I spent some time editing them, and it was absolutely lovely because it was just my era. I was at school in the 1950s. Oh, happy day. Malcolm's, great supporter of the hobby. There's a big cat, 950. They'll be all electric or hydrogen soon, all these trucks. But there's not that much actually being tried out yet. There was a sort of concept lorry that plodded around Europe. I saw it on the motorway one day. I wasn't in a position to film or photograph it.